So today I did my first shukatsu activity ever in my life here in Japan, and I think I'd like to document this journey of going from a ryugakusei in Japan to maybe shain, I don't know, but for now just want to document my experience with the shushoku process because I'm starting from literally ground zero. I don't know anything at all. But I think that I'd like to try working in Japan for just a couple of years at least, mainly because I want permanent residency. And so we are starting that journey today, I suppose. So I found a job fair flyer for like Kyoto companies in the Yoshida International House. I don't go there so much anymore recently, or I mean in recent years, because I haven't taken Japanese classes so much. I believe I've mentioned in a previous video how I didn't take Japanese class for a whole year recently due to my sensei's wishes. So this is now the second semester I'm taking Japanese in like a really long time. So I'm back in the Yoshida International House somewhat regularly now. And because I know that my time is coming to an end soon, I have only 3 semesters left, 1.5 years left at the university, I'm trying to pay more attention to things and just do more things that I normally wouldn't do or I'm not used to doing or have never done before. And so one of those things includes actually like reading the flyers that are posted all throughout the Yoshida International House and just kind of see what's going on. And so through that, I found this Kyoto job fair flyer. But what's really interesting is that I also saw an ad for this job fair on Facebook as well, like many times. And they're gonna be like, what the heck, why are you using Facebook? I actually hadn't been using Facebook for several years, but I made a group, like a Facebook group for like my main channel. And so because of that, I reinstalled like Facebook on my phone, and now I find myself checking the app daily, and because of that, I've been seeing more things happening on Facebook. And it seems like Facebook is actually a really maybe a really good place to start looking for how to get connected to things shukatsu-wise in Japan, because there's actually a lot of advertisements for companies. Companies are advertising on Facebook that they're looking for new employees and that they're recruiting. And so it's all kinds of companies. I haven't seen anything particularly related to me yet, like Seiyaku Gaisha or like a biotech company or something. But like there are a bunch of recruiting agencies in addition to like particular companies advertising on Facebook. So if you're really like ground zero where I am and you have nothing, like you're not connected in any way to like finding a job, then that's probably a good place to start. Yeah, so there was an ad for this very exact same job fair on Facebook, and like Kyoto University was also promoting this job fair through flyers on campus. So it's legit. Like the companies you see in the Facebook ads, apparently for Japan at least, like seem to be legit. So yeah, don't be afraid to maybe reach out to them or follow their page and go to the website, whatever you need to do. So the company, I should have brought the laptop over here. It's like Kyoto Jobu Paku or something. And the website is, I think, maybe Kyoto Konetto. And so you go on this website, and in order to yoyaku, like you had to reserve a spot for the event, which really didn't make any sense because it was a whole mess. The reservation did nothing for me. Except for give me a registration number, which you needed in the Zoom calls. But like other than that, like literally didn't do anything to help me actually participate in the event like smoothly. So, but that's beside the point. So you read the QR code on the flyer to get to the website, or go to the website if you're old school. And this event was online for yesterday and today, which was October 5th and 6th. So 2 sessions, and then they have a 3rd session on October 14th that's going to be in person. And because I'm brand new and like to take the path of least resistance, I was like, okay, let's just try out this job hunting thing because it's online, that is easy for me. I can handle that. So I registered for the today, October 6th session online, and how it went. So I learned a lot today, and most of those things were like technical, like things that have to do with participating in these career fair, job fair, Zoom events. So biggest thing I learned is that you can't just, it's not just like one big Zoom meeting and like the potential companies just like present in succession in this single Zoom meeting. Like that's not how it works at all. There's actually a bunch of different Zoom rooms, each with the like particular link. And these companies have like a 15-minute block in a specific room that they're assigned beforehand. And so you need to know before the event starts, like which companies you're interested in so that you can find their Zoom room that they're presenting in and like be there in time to listen to their whole like introduction or whatever of their company. So you cannot do this the day of. Like I just thought I was gonna sit in a session and get to hear like all the companies talk, but no, you have to like have known beforehand exactly which companies you want to listen to so that you can go to their respective Zoom rooms. And so that was a mess because obviously everything's in Japanese, so I can't read that fast. And some things I can't read at all, like because it's in kanji, so I have to look it up. So it was like chaotic trying to figure out which room I should go to for each session. So this event was from 1 p.m. to 3:55 p.m. So like 3-ish hours, but every 20 minutes, like the session would change. So you had like the option to go to a new room to listen to the next company or whatever. But for each 20-minute session, there's like a list of like 6 to 10 different companies that are presenting during that time block. But they're in different rooms. So you need to, like I said before, you need to know which company you want to listen to so that you know exactly which room you need to go to at which time. And so that was chaotic for me because I hadn't done anything beforehand. Like I said, clearly I misunderstood how this event was going to work, but it was my first time. Shogunai, I'm not even about it anymore. Whatever, it is what it is. I tried it and learned. So yeah, figure that out midway through. And that wasn't even like the most frustrating part. So that was really frustrating, right? But before this even happened, like I'm trying to get into the event, I had to figure out how to like even start this whole thing because they didn't send an email with the links to today's sessions like they did yesterday. And so yesterday at the start of the event, like they sent a whole, like an email with the list of every single company that's going to be in which room at which time in each time block. And so all I had to do was like click on the link in the email under the name of the respective company you were interested in. It would take you straight to the Zoom room where they're presenting, and it had the times written and everything. It was very organized and really nice. And so because I had seen that yesterday, I was like, okay, we're going to get that email today. So all I have to do is wait for it. But then 1 p.m. came and went, and no email like was there in my inbox. And so I ended up calling the company because I was like, okay, something's wrong. Like I don't even know how to get to this like website. And they told me, they're like, oh, like we're having issues with the website because this and that, and like, oh, the email like hasn't like been sent. But she also said it as though we're not going to send an email. She's like, oh, you're supposed to go to the home page and then find the company you want and go to their page, and then if you scroll down, the link to the Zoom room will be there. And I'm just like, none of this was in the explanation like that was received ever. Like when you sign up for the account, they don't tell you this. When you go on the website and like read like how they tell you to participate in this event, like that is not a thing. Like I actually read that part because you needed it to actually like yoyaku, to reserve for whichever day you chose. And so I was just listening. I was like, okay, sure, we'll give it a go. If that's what you want me to do, I'm gonna go find this, like these companies or whatever, and like participate the long way. And so then I hung up. At this point, it's like 1:15. It's like we're like 15 minutes into the event, and I'm like not inside. Not inside at all. And so then I try to go. I'm on the website and I'm reading where I need to go in order to find the list of the companies. I finally figure out where I'm supposed to go. I click on the link and bam, error page. It says we cannot connect to the database or something absolutely like, I have no idea what's going on. And I'm just like, okay, I finally found like where I need to go, and like this one link says no, like it will not work. And so after like 10 to 15 minutes of me like trying to pretend like I knew what I was doing, I gave up and I called them again and I was like, hi, yeah, I just called 10 minutes ago. And I tried to go to that webpage where you told me to go, and it's like, and she's like, oh yeah, like that's also happening, I'm so sorry. And I'm just like, ma'am, like I don't know if the problem is me or if it's like actually like there's a communication issue, like this was not laid out properly in detail anywhere, like that this is gonna happen and we need to like know beforehand, like load the page a day in advance so that we can get there. I don't know. I was just like, okay, whatever, at this point I'm just not gonna participate. And she's like, so the only option is to really just like kind of wait another 10 minutes and then try again, like keep trying to reload the page. And I was like, okay, that's the game we're gonna play. Got it. Now that I know that I'm in the right space and I just need to wait, like it's less stressful. At this point, I've missed like half an hour of the event, so I'm just like, whatever. At this point, I'm not expecting anything to go well. But lo and behold, the page eventually loads and I'm able to figure out what I'm supposed to do. But so after this 30 minutes of me just like lost in limbo, guess what finally arrives? The email with the list of companies and the links to the Zoom rooms, like directly. And I'm just like, whatever. It's here. I just don't even know. I'm not even, all that was lost is found. So I'm not even gonna sweat anymore. It's come. I don't even care. Clearly they're having technical difficulties. Like, that there's nothing that could have been done about that. So I finally figure out where I am on the website. I have my list of companies with the Zoom rooms. And so I start going into the Zoom rooms and quickly realize that what I mentioned before this story was that there's an organization to this. And I needed to have done my research on the companies I wanted to hear about beforehand, because the company I entered the first time was like, for the Zoom room, was like a company that made leather bags in like Hokkaido, and I was like, this is not even close to what I hope to ever have to do in the future. Like if I worked in this company, I would not be okay. And so quickly realized that companies I'm actually interested in are far and few in between. And so at this point I'm trying to figure out whether the companies that I would be interested in are even like in this event. And so I go to the page where you can search for like the companies that are going to be in this event or whatever. And I see that they have a couple of like categories you can search through. One of the categories is like, oh, gaikokujin demo hatarakeru. Like that's not the name of it, but they're saying like, oh, we accept foreigners can work in these kind of companies. So I go to that list and I open up a tab for every single company that like kaisha that shows up under that list. And of course, because the website is trash, they don't load. Not a single page loads. And so that's another like 20 minutes it takes to actually get the web pages like to open. And I do the same thing under the category for Rike. So there's a category for people who are in like the sciences, and I open up every single company there. So now I've got like 40 tabs just like failing to load, and I'm going through and trying to load each one, and it's just literally hell, and it's such a mess, and I literally have no expectations at this point, so I'm not even bothered just watching them do their best to load. So that's what I was doing, because I was trying to figure out where I should go. And then when the pages eventually load, so if you scroll down a little bit, you're able to read what the company is about briefly, see what kind of industry it is. And then at the bottom, they have information for which day of this Kyoto job fair they're going to like be available on, like either the 5th, yesterday, Thursday, or the 6th, today, Friday. And every single tab I opened under like foreigners can work here, and like Rike, which are like the two things that pertain to me, apparently presented yesterday. So that was another important thing I learned. For one, why you need to look up the companies beforehand, because I thought that this event was just, you had 2 days to like participate based on your schedule, like which one works better for you, then you should enter that one. But the nayo, so the content of both days would be the same, is what I naively thought. But it turns out like it's 2 different days, and you need to pick based on which companies you want to hear. So I ended up picking today because yesterday I was actually busy during this time. I had Japanese class from 1 to 4:30, so I literally couldn't make it. But as I mentioned, all the companies I would have been interested in were presenting yesterday. So whatever, it didn't work out. It is what it is. One good thing is the Taimen event, so the in-person event that's happening on the 14th, I think all of the companies that presented online are going to be there in person, and you can go again and like speak to people in person. So that'll be great. I'll go to that as well. But yeah, that was a big lesson I learned, is that one, those 2 options are not options like, you know, pick based on your schedule. They're not the same content happening 2 separate days. It's 2 separate days of different content, and you need to like do a lot of research beforehand to figure out exactly what you want to do, what you're interested in, and who you want to hear, like before this event even starts. So I learned that about the job hunting, job career, what do you even call this, career fair, online bullshit events. There's probably a name for this. I don't know it right now, so sorry. So I'm going to assume from now on that all future online company matching introduction events are going to go this way. So yeah, I'll learn to research beforehand what companies that I may be interested in, and then now know how this workflow goes. So yeah, that was a mess, but then I tried something different because all the companies that I had just opened on my tabs, they presented yesterday, so they weren't relevant anymore. So I tried to search in a different way. You can go back to the all company list page on the website, and there's a search feature, which was helpful later. I'll talk about that later, but they have categories, different categories from before. And one was idio, like idioke companies, which is like medicine and health, and I was like, oh, that's relevant to me. So there were only 14 companies. I opened that, and then I used that to try to figure out which of the companies they had in the list in the email they sent, so the ones that were actually presenting at what time in what Zoom rooms. I used my EDOK company list and tried to match the names so I can see like which of the companies presenting today may be in the field that I actually have interested in. And it turns out there were only 2 of them, and I didn't need to match the names to figure it out because they actually had EDO in the name. So they said like health in the name on the email list. But there were a lot of companies whose names weren't that straightforward, and that's why I went through the like the tema of actually trying to match up the names. But in the end, it wasn't too helpful. So there are only 2 companies about EDO, and the first one happened during all of the technological like mishap that was happening for the first 30 minutes. It was the first session, so I completely missed that, obviously, due to all the technological stress that was happening. But the second session, or third, whatever, the first one I was able to make had the second EDO company, so I did attend that, and it ended up being a rehabilitation company, like not at all something I would want to do. Like, it seemed like rehabilitation, as in like most of the kyaku are elderly, and it's like to help you, I don't know, do daily life things. It seemed more like kaigo to me, or kango, I don't know which one, like caregiving, but it was also a rehabilitation center. So not at all what I want to do. That's not the EDO I'm interested in. It didn't seem like they have any seiyaku gaisha, which is where it seems like I would be most likely to go for like a real job that actually uses my degree. So yeah, that was disappointing. And when I realized that I wasn't going to get any useful information, like actually helpful for like building a real career like for myself in this session, then I just started going to whichever Zoom meetings and just listening for the sake of getting used to hearing all this business jargon, Japanese, just for the purpose of my own kikitori and Nihongo no Benkyo. So yeah, after that I gave up. I was like, no, this is not what I need. Like, there could have been something that I needed, but it would have required so much work beforehand that I didn't do. So at this point, like, there's nothing I can do, you know, so I just let it go. And yeah, after I let it go and was just, you know, listening to random stuff here and there, I heard about all sorts of companies. There was a company that called like Genmaicha Ya, which sounded really interesting, but they weren't actually making Genmaicha. They make powdered tea though, which sounds cool. I was thinking I would go like visit their company just for fun, but it turns out they're all the way in Kamioka, which is very far, like very far. And then like the dude was like, oh, we usually get to work by car because like if you tried to, like, Kamioka is it's the Inaka. And he was like, yeah, if you don't, like, we, our shine need to have car, if like a car if you want to come to work. And I'm just like, that is not at all reasonable, but okay. In this country where people don't drive cars and we ride bikes everywhere, or take public transportation. So that was a no, even though that's up my alley for like interests of like things in Japan. And then the last session, there was a company that like I was interested in just because of like my love for Japan. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but on their website they had a photo of like a kimono. Like, it looked like a kimono, yeah. So big old tatami room with like kimonos set up on models and just like Japanese fabric everywhere. And the one girl, she was like, oh yeah, I work with OBs and da da da. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would do that. Like, that sounds so fun. And they unfortunately don't do internships or like baito or whatever. But they said, yeah, you can come do kengaku. Their store is on Shijo Kawaramachi, so that's somewhere I could like ride my bike to. They showed us a photo of the building, which was really helpful. Apparently in a Tokyo Hans, I didn't even know we had that in Kyoto. So that was really interesting. I'm thinking I'd go visit them just because, I don't know, as much as like, my future is so undecided. Like, I don't know how to like explain, really put into words the fact that I'm like so close to just like a blank slate of what I want to do after I graduate. So obviously, like, the main thing I'm supposed to do is go like get a job like at a like either a pharmaceutical biotech company, become a researcher, do something that is going to showcase this PhD in medical science that I have obtained, hopefully will have obtained. But like, there's also, on the other hand, if I'm going to be here in Japan and work, like, I could just pursue my Japanese passions and go get a job that has nothing to do with what I studied like 30 years of my life for, but I can only do while I'm here in Japan, like work at a kimono store. So in that case, I would be like not really moving so much higher in quality of life. Like, pay would probably be very similar to what I'm making now on the scholarship, which I will tell you now is not enough. It's not enough to be comfortable. Like, as a moving toward middle of age adult, it's not comfortable. But like, you know, I think I've decided now at this point that I'm not going to be here forever. So it's like, with the few years that I do have left and I'm going to work in Japan, like, it's a solid option to also just do something fun that, you know, feeds into my love of Japanese culture, and I can learn more about things relating to Japanese culture and just continue having fun in the way that I love here in this country, but as a job. So, you know, two divergent roads, not at all related, but those are the two options I'm thinking about right now. So I don't know, may go check out this kimono company just for fun. But yeah, that's how the online event went today. Unfortunately, not so great. I didn't get out of it, you know, anything close to what I could have. But you could ask questions in the Zoom chat after they presented via chat, or you could turn on your camera and talk to them. There were not too many people who turned on their cameras, and one of the girls who did had like a suit on the whole time. So Japanese people are very serious about shukatsu. They wear business suits, girls, guys, all the time whenever they're interacting with these companies. So whether it's online in Zoom call or they're going out for shukatsu and doing interviews, I'm assuming that on the 14th, everyone's also going to be in a business suit. So I'm going to wear my slacks. I don't have a suit because I didn't grow up that way. I don't live that life. I got slacks. You can get some slacks, but you're not going to get a suit out of me. I'm so sorry. Yeah, we'll see what I can put together to look not too out of place, but I'm going to assume everyone's going to be in a suit there except me. So that's how that went. I'm excited to go on the 14th and see what that's like. Maybe go talk to this kimono company in person and see how that goes. Other thing I learned from this, which I already knew, but just the business Japanese. It's not just business Japanese, like the super keigo, all the business jargon. Like I don't got it. So yeah, I can tell them that I passed N2, which will make them more like receptive to taking me seriously as a potential like candidate. But in reality, like when they use the super keigo combined with the business jargon, like I'm not getting it. So I have a lot more studying to do Nihongo wise in order to feel comfortable actually working at a Japanese company. But you know, I already knew that, which is why these last 3 semesters I really am putting my focus back on improving my Japanese as much as possible. So yep, okay, I'm gonna end it there. I could literally talk forever about everything, but I'm gonna try to cut that. So that's how it went today. This is, I guess, my diary entry 1 of my shukatsu experience. So yeah, maybe one day in the future I'll help somebody, but that's how it went now, and I will see you in episode 2. Mata ne! Bye!